Hello, hello, hello. It is Fun Day Monday, and remember we moved the time. So that's again the reason why I said ring the bell for the notifications. If you haven't already, go to the Erudition website on YouTube or on Facebook or any other social media and ring the bell for notifications so that you'll have updates of when we're finally on. Because again, when you have live hosts with you, like these little guys back here. Yeah, when you have them, you kind of got to work on their schedule. So we had to make sure that they calm down so they're not trying to jump out. Because what kind of episode would that be if we have a discus that jumps out on my head? Yeah, we definitely don't want that. So today is March 27th. It is still International Women's Month. Okay. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about women. Hey, Sean Anthony, thank you for being here. So you guys have a few more tips about how women are doing, how you could get to know how women think, respond, react, and how they feel about things. Okay. Now, this show is about reconditioning your mind and reconditioning the way you think, because a lot of times we're thinking things because we don't understand that we were conditioned to think that way. For example, when you go to school, you're being taught how to think, how to do whatever it is that they want you to do. And it's for a purpose. But you also have different types of schooling. So if you go into a private school, you're being conditioned to think in a different way than those people who attend public schools. And all depending on what area or what town you're in, how you're going to be conditioned to think. So if you're in a small town, then you're being conditioned maybe to think about ways that you can be a productive member to society um, by for the little town. So the little town is like, oh, we need this, we need a shopkeeper here, we need someone who can do construction so they can fix up these older buildings. And your mind is being conditioned to contribute in a positive manner to that particular society and that particular environment. So if you think about it that way, you'll start to see a little bit better of what I mean about you were conditioned to think the way you think. So anyway, um, one way that you can recondition your mind is you have to figure out what it is that you like and what you want. Because a lot of times people say, oh, women are from Mars, men are from Venus. Or is it the other way around? Either way it goes, you have to understand that that's a conditioned way of thinking. And there's a new way of thinking. For example, a lot of people are now reconditioning their mind to think differently about hairstyles, gender roles, and jobs and careers, even. Because sometimes people are conditioned, you work all your life, and then you die. So you retire and die. So now a lot of people are saying, well, I don't want to die just because I retired. So they're starting to recondition their thinking to say, okay, I'm going to retire, but I'm going to start living instead of saying, oh, well, I retired. Now I get to sit home on the couch and be a sloth and don't go anywhere, do anything. No, they're starting to recondition their mind. There's a shift that took place because a lot of people understood that, well, I got to work in order to eat. I got to work in order to live. I got to work in order to maintain the kind of things and material goods and have all the things that I want in life. So they went to work. They went and got a job. So they were working younger in life. So now they're retiring at a much younger age because they're staying loyal to a particular company or a particular career field. And now they've built up enough time and money under their belt where they can say, okay, I can retire. And now that that mentality has conditioned them to say, okay, now I don't want to die just because I retired. So what else am I going to do? Some people they decide to get a hobby. There's a lot of hobbyists out there There's a lot of other people that's doing other things, and they have even people who retire and then they make their own business where they're saying, okay, what I learned this with this company for this using this career, and I don't want to do that any longer. For example, some people can say that they were a realtor, and being a realtor for a different company or a big company, a corporation that sends them on really nice holidays. Yeah, I did that. And you could start to see the different things that you do. And you're like, well, I'm great at being a realtor, and I'm great at, debt consolidating, refinancing, and giving loans, and finding the network that's required for me to pull somebody over here and say, oh, go and appraise this house for me. We're looking for this value in this house so that we can move onward to this, and you work in a network with all these people. And in doing that, you're starting to see, I don't really want to do this for this big company, even though they send me on great holidays and I'm making a lot of money. I don't want to go along for the rest. Do something. And that's when you start to see, oh, I can have a company and I can have people who are under me as appraisers. And now I'm the one that's over the appraisers, and I send the appraisers out. And that's a great thing to do, find things in your career set that you can recondition your mind to not work for a big company, but work for yourself. What did Eddie say? Hey, Eddie, thank you for coming. I make sure you stick around, stick around. Yeah, you're right. No one really retires these days, and and it's really because people have shifted. The shift came because people don't want to just lay down and die. I was watching this show called Discovery. Eddie got me hooked on this show called Discovery, and there's this one culture of alien, and they were conditioned for a few generations that there was some sort of transition in their body that was going to take place at a particular age, and this transition was going to kill them, so they have to lay down and die. But somebody was too busy to lay down and die, so what he decided was he was going to wait as long as he could and wait it out. And he waited too long, and he was in his chambers, and he just decided that he was going to just die in his chambers instead of go to the designated location to die. And he woke up. He realized, wait a minute, I didn't die. What happened? So then he came to find, as he continued to research a little bit more, instead of listening to other people tell him and condition him as to what he should do, um, he discovered that they don't die at a particular age or a point in their life. What they do is evolve. And due to this evolution, it's like now they're more aggressive, less docile, and they have a tendency to be um, um, less able to be controlled. And the people who were telling them that they were going to die was the people who were trying to control them and condition them to think and believe that they had to go to this particular location where they can die in peace. And that wasn't the case. So now this one person had to go back and tell all the other aliens in their culture, don't do it. Don't lay down and die, because we don't die. It may feel like you're dying, but you wake up again. And now they had to make everybody aware of this shift. And the shift comes from not wanting to die, not wanting to just lay down and die. And that's what's happening even with the culture we're seeing now. People are grandmothers younger, people are great grandparents younger, and they don't want to be a great grandparent and, oh, now I'm going to die, because that's the natural course of events. A lot of people are saying, look, 65, I still look good at 65. I'm still able to walk at 65. I'm still able to go do whatever I want to do at 65. I'm not just going to lay down and die. People are saying, wait a minute, I'm 80 years old and 80 looks like this. I'm not going to lay down and die at 80. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, but I'm going to slow down a little bit because I don't want to get sick. I don't want to break a hip. I don't want to. So you're reconditioning the idea and the concepts that you were conditioned that at a certain age, this is what you're going to do. You're going to lay down and die. You're going to retire. You're going to go and sit down in a rocking chair somewhere and just enjoy your grandkids and your great grandkids running around you, calling you grandpop or whatever, granddaddy, whatever, great granddaddy, whatever they're going to call you. You're supposed to just sit back and enjoy that. But now a lot of people are saying, I don't want to die. And because of that, they're saying, well, yes, I'm going to retire. So deuces, big corporation, deuces company that I'm so loyal to, I'm going to go and um what what did he say? Co- Yeah, I don't know what that means. Anyway, what they're doing now is they're shifting and they're saying, okay, these people aren't trying to lay down and die. Let's see where this goes. That's where the economy is taking it. That's where the industrial organization as a whole are taking it. And that's why they moved the retirement age up. And they're like, well, if you're not going to lay down and die, we can't afford to lose what you have to offer. And what we're going to do is, instead of letting you retire, we're going to move the retirement age so that you can stay on a little longer. So those people coming up behind you, you can train them to take your place. But if we recondition our thinking, just because you retire doesn't mean that you can't collect a pension from that place at the same time of being rehired as a specialist to that same organization. So a lot of people are starting to rethink the way they think about conducting business. And that is an awesome idea, because we cannot make forward progression if we are stuck in a backwards mentality. Now you can progress, but it's more of a linear progression as opposed to moving forward, because you're kind of stagnated. And when you lose those retired aged people, because they're like, look, I'm not going to work myself to death. I'm still vibrant, I'm still active, I'm still able to go and do things. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to retire and collect this pension, but I'm going to go and enjoy life. But some people, they still need to generate a source of income. You still need to generate a source of wealth, not just your pension. And that's why a lot of people are saying, well, I'm reconditioning my thinking to retire, but I'm still going to go and work a job part time. But this is the thing, as you're trying to recondition your thinking to work um, differently, to make it work better for you, start to think about it like this. Condition your thinking to say, okay, I'm going to retire and collect this pension from this company, but I'm going to give them the opportunity to retain me in a different position so that I can still make the same amount of wages that I make. I'm not, but I'm just going to lower my hours. I'm not going to make less money. I'm just going to lower my hours. And that's the way you continue to generate wealth and recondition your mind so that you're like, okay, I'm not going to lay down and die. Hi, Pastor Sarton. How's it going? That's why I get that. I know, right? A lot of people are like, I want to quit this job. I hate this job. I'm going to curse everybody out when I finish this job. And they have it coming. They had it coming. But you hold off. Hold off on that kind of thinking. Meet them outside, tell the corporation, like, hey, this person has been bothering me all my career, and just let me have this one thing. Just overlook me this one time and rehire me as a consultant, and then we'll do something else. And I'll continue to help the corporation to grow, but at the same time, generate my own wealth. So you can still use your pension and have your own company. You can still do all of those things you want to do, but now you're doing it in a manner that's exercising wisdom. And I don't know how many times book of Proverbs talks about wisdom, but it does it a lot and it's very repetitive to the point where you think you're reading the same thing twice or three times or four times. Oh my God, how many times? But it's the sage, like in the book of Ecclesiastic, it says how to use that wisdom, what you should do now moving forward with that wisdom. And that's what we need to do. We need to recondition our thinking. For example, um, there's a lot of women who had to recondition their thinking, and a lot of the shift was there because men went to war and didn't come back home, and they had kids and the whole family that now the woman had to support. And a lot of times it was because in the African American community, now that was the white working class went family members when their wives were left home and they had to go and take care of their family. In the African American community, it was the shift occurred when a lot of the men were going to jail. They were being incarcerated and they had families and children that they had to take care of, but they're not around because, well, the system got them. And the only way to beat the system is to stay out of the system. What did Eddie say? Retired company pay them more money. Yeah, the company will pay you more money because they know that they cannot lose what you have to offer. So if you're yeah, that's a good scenario. If you work in let's say 16 hours and your salary is about $60,000 a year. So now I'm going to make maybe 60,000 but less hours, or I'm going to make more than $60,000 a year and I'll stay with this company, or I'll go with the competition and be the consultant for that competition and make more than the money that you're offering me to stay here. You got options, but now you're working less hours and you have more money because there's more of a need for you and everything you have to offer. So now you can continue to generate wealth and build your wealth without having to be concerned that your money is coming out more, and you're living longer. You don't have to worry about living longer and outliving your wages because you're still generating more wealth. So you're reconditioning your mind. And a lot of the African American women, they were like, well, I can't go and get another man so that that man can help me in the household. So I have to use the government. The government is assisting me. So what am I going to do now? I have to continue to work on myself and build myself. So they went to school. They went to school and they took out student loans, even if they didn't have to take out a student loan. They took out student loans because they're being independent, and they're doing this to make sure that there's no one that's going to tell me that I can't go and better myself. So don't be afraid to take out a student loan. Go take out that student loan, build yourself. A lot of women have done that, and they have said, okay, I'm going to get a job so I can pay that back. But in the process of me getting it, no one's going to be able to tell me what to do because you're not paying my way. No one's sponsoring this. And even if somebody was to give you a scholarship or give you a few funds that contribute to your education, it still does not give them the power and authority to rule over you and control what you do because you have student loans. And you know that once you're finished with school, you'll be able to pay those student loans back. So you don't have to worry. So a lot of women condition themselves in that manner. And now a lot of those women are doctors, lawyers, and PhDs. And what did Eddie say? Also work from, you can also work from home because there are some corporations that want people who are well educated and good at what they do to work from home. And you can continue to work from home at lesser hours as a consultant once you feel like you want to retire. That's great points, Eddie. So you're reconditioning your mind to understand that, well, while it was taboo and greatly discouraged for people to take out student loans in order to go to school to better themselves and to raise their children outside of poverty, just outside of the poverty line. Some people, they just inside of the poverty line by a penny. And God may will it so that you can continue to get the resources that you need so that you can continue to have the opportunity to build yourself. Everything happens for a reason, and it all works out for the good of them who are innately, trying. They're innately good and motivated. It's not coming outside of you. It's innate in us all. We're born with it, but because we're nurturing that part of us, we're working and moving toward that, more than ever before. And that's what the shift is that everybody is experiencing now. Everyone is seeing it more, more obvious now, because now it's like, man, you look around and you will see these women are breaking this corporate ceiling. These women are coming in with innovative ideas. Oh, no problem. um Thank you. But Now you're seeing it more, and you're seeing the children younger, and they're smarter. They're going and entering the corporate world younger, is what I mean by they're younger. They're going in, they're smarter younger, but it's written in the word that they're going to be smarter, wiser, younger. And that's because they're understanding. Because if you think about it, the generation now that's too young to retire and die, too young to retire and not outlive their pension, they have that mentality. They're wiser now than the generation before them, and the before smarter. So we can see that that kind of cycle is continuing on, and we're now finding ourselves in that situation where we're like, man, I'm how old? Man, I was just 20 just yesterday. I was just able to jump out of this seat and not hear my knees cracking, and not feel like I'm onomatopoeia every time I move. What's the onomatopoeia? Sound effects. Like you a character with sound effects every time you move. If your body ain't cracking, then you making moans and groans like, oh. And I know it takes me about an hour to sit here before my rear end is like, look, we not meant to be pressed down like this. We got to move around just a little bit. What you say, Pastor Sarton? Where do you see the label for what's going on over the next 10 years? You know what? I'm writing on it. I am right. It's going to be a book. I just had to say that now. There's going to be a book, and you're going to want to read that. I was trying to wait until I was done with my PhD, because I still have to write to that. And I've seen a lot of people, once I introduced the topic, they took it and ran with it because it didn't exist anywhere before. And I was trying to build a new writing team. So I didn't put a book or article out there that was talking to that. So someone I saw overseas actually did it while I was in the process of trying to complete my dissertation, because as a PhD, you have to contribute something new to the field and a theory. So I have my theories on that, technology versus trade, and I really want to share it with you. But um, what I want to say is, if you've been watching these episodes, if you haven't been watching, go and binge watch them. If you haven't been watching, I'm gonna tell you now, everybody. This is what I'm gonna let you know. There is something coming, and it's gonna be big. And once I'm finished writing, I'm going to express it, and it's gonna be in detail in writing, where you can track it and you can follow it and you can grow from it. Just like these videos that I've put out here, that's helping you with self mental health, that's helping you with critical thinking skills. There's something big, and that's extremely lucrative. Where do I see it going? Well, what I'm going to say is, a lot of the books that I introduced to these in these episodes, I would strongly encourage you to go and read them and stay abreast, and continue to watch these episodes, because I am going to reveal all of that via this method. So definitely stay tuned. I'm dropping these Easter eggs, but I'm definitely going to put it all together. In the very first episode, I said I'm taking you somewhere. I want you along with me. Trust me. I don't sell wolf tickets. I'm gonna call bro idiot. Okay, you can ask him, but I really would like for, because I did present the idea to Eddie, that I would like it to be a family collaborative effort so that we can push it out there. The main reason why is because there's a when I put that idea out there, some people overseas took that idea and started to publish on it and do studies, and that's a lot of money. That's lucrative, and that's money that I'm not seeing, and it was my idea. So you understand what I'm saying? And that's why a couple of the episodes talked about intellectual property and protecting your intellectual property. All the things that I have put out there have been protected via um, um, other methods. And when it comes out, when I'm done and I'm done focusing and it comes out, it'll be noticeable. And then, just like God gave Job everything that he had lost in the process, or that was allowed to be taken from him in the process of where he was going. I intend that, like I said, he don't do for one that he won't do for another. So yeah, definitely. You're gonna see everything Tina was talking about, underlying instructions and ideas. She can write about. And okay, now let's see. Now I guess you don't have to call him. Yes, I totally understand. Yes, and I've also noticed, Pastor Sarton, that people have even taken the Adroit Living. It was nowhere. We checked thoroughly. Adroit Live. They are actually taking that name now. Now, I don't mind people taking the concepts and going and saying, "Well, I saw this idea and this was a great idea," but everything that belongs to me, all the finances, all the accreditation, all the acknowledgments, everything that belongs to me. I'm not mad. I'm not trying to fight it. It'll come back because my blessings come from somewhere else. So I'll put it out there. I'll put it out there in good faith, but I'll protect myself because of wisdom. But yeah, that is a great question. And yes, sir, I do see it. I forecasted it because the school that I was taught from conditioned me to think outside of the box. And that's why I can say, we need to recondition our thinking, because I didn't know that everybody wasn't being taught this way. Pastor Sarton, you may remember um, Apostle Hinton. I just call him Pastor Hinton because that's what I knew him as when I was growing up. And Prophetess Dr. Hattie B. Jones. I just called her Pastor Jones. Pastor, we called her Mother. That's what we called her when I was growing up under them and learning and watching. And yeah, like a Picasso work of art, you look at things and you don't know that everybody is seeing something different. I didn't know that. So everything that I was seeing, that was what God was working in me and innate in me, and manifesting what was already innate in me, and to a, what did it say, all into a certain time, an appointed time, and that appointed time is upon us. And I'm on fire. Nobody can take that fire away. They trying to discourage me, and they keep wondering why she keeps smiling. Do she have any idea what we're doing to her? The answer is yes. And the other answer is, what did it say? Oh, yes, I tell you. Uh, yes, that's your mentor. Okay, there we go. So you know what I'm saying. Uh, my side information system, folks better be wise. Be moved to further information system. Yeah, and what I intend to do is try to make it accessible to everybody. So it's not hidden. It's there, and it's all going to be like a manual. So don't worry. I'm my people that's watching. I'm definitely tracking who it is that's with me from the jump. I'm not going to forget people. So I'm definitely going to hook people up. So don't even worry about it. But anyway, yeah. I do feel falling behind because we don't know the external. And you know what? Um, says internal business. You know what? Uh, it's 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 all gonna work out. I can't say everything, but it's all gonna work out, and it's gonna be really great. It's gonna be really great. I did an episode most recently. It has only been a year that I've been doing this, and it's talking about a global Black Wall Street. That's a big hint. So again, people try to do things to discourage you along your way, but that just makes you more and more aware that you have something that's about to explode, and the whole world is going to be like, wow, why didn't I think of that? And I'm going to grab that person and say, you don't have to think of it, just join in. We good right here, right now. Let's move forward from here, because I don't like division. I don't like um you know people being mean to one another. I like for people to be whole, and you can't be whole if somebody constantly tearing away at you. So I'm an all inclusive person. So we don't have to worry about anybody being left out. So if you're watching this episode and you're just like, oh, it's a year into her doing her thing, and I was wondering where it came from because she keep referring back to the videos, you're not late. You're not late. So continue to watch, binge watch, and catch up. You'll be all right. And just here, Tina, how does the difference lie? Yeah, but see, that's a part of um a partnership. Now, reconditioning your mind. Now, the way I read the Bible, the way I read a whole lot of books of faith is they did not God did not intend for a woman to be in the way that people are thinking that she is. She's a help mate. The man don't want to do all that stuff by himself, just like a woman don't want to be the shero all her life. A man don't want to be a hero all his life. Go back, watch it. That's right. Yes, sir. And that's what I'm talking about. Wait, you don't have to wait for the book. If you feel on fire, you feel that spark, you feel what I'm coming from. You set kick it off, and then by the time I put it out there, we gonna all be on one accord and moving forward. So do your thing. I'm still trying to finish this part, and it's a very small part, but I've also moved forward with my postdoctoral endeavors. So uh yeah, if I have to have one author or more authors, I'm still going to go ahead and continue on with what I'm doing. But nothing's going to stop us this time, because the idea was for us to remember why these things were, because we knew, well, God knew that we would be deceived in our transition, moving from naive to being wise. He knew what we would be deceived into what our objectives were. So we think that a man's supposed to be the head. Well, he's just supposed to be somebody who we expect has the plan, you know. But the woman, she carried the purpose. The men, they were supposed to make sure that they directed it here, there, wherever it was going, and help to develop it and be the strength for that and this. But the woman, she carried something that was greater than anything, because that was her connection directly from God that brought forth life. And without that life, there is nothing else. A man can't direct or guide and strengthen and build and have the plan for anything. So the roles are not necessarily a stickler to gender rolling, but it's definitely stickler to building on your strengths. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is what you strong at. This is what they're strong at. And there's something about that push and pull, that reciprocation, that building that we can't get to if everybody seems to feel like they're on the same level, the same playing field. We're not. There's something that you have to offer me that I got to get. And there's something I have to offer you that you got to get in order for us to grow. And that's why we need to recondition our thinking. And that's one of the things that I've been talking about so many times in these podcasts, because that's what I talk about in life, period. She's also another get married. What does that say about her thinking? Exactly. And for example, I was telling some of the people, because now it's out the cat's out the bag. The cat was out the bag when I graduated in 3 years from high school instead of 4, and I graduated as the valedictorian as opposed to being anything less. What happened was people came to see that just because I was popular in school, just because I'm good with telling jokes and I like to have fun and I'm a little goofy and, fun loving, and I'm like, oh no, we don't have to do it that way. And just because I have a different way of thinking and behaving, it doesn't mean that I'm on the spectrum in the manner in which I have high needs. It means that there's something going on that we need to all recondition our thinking, because a lot of people are now reconditioning their thinking to the point where a man has no legs, but he can run, and he can run really fast. A man has no ability to move his legs, his lower extremities, but he's a truck driver making a lot of money. We are starting to recondition our thinking because we don't want to just lay down and die. And women are starting to lead that group, because women were more oppressed than anyone, because legally, the laws, the way the laws were written, they didn't have the rights and freedoms and things that were accessible as time went on, that would allot them the opportunities to do the things that they're doing, to actually be a helpmate. You can't be a helpmate if you're restricted, if you're restrained. And a woman is a helpmate. She may not be your helpmate intimately, sexually, but she's still a helpmate because it's innate in her, and that's building to her strength in order for her to do what she does, and you allow her to do what she does. So we recondition our thinking, and we're growing, we're developing more, we're going further. And even though various business aspects sabotaged and hindered via people seeing that, oh, there's a loophole I can do. It's not against the law yet, but it probably will be. But I'm going to go and take advantage of it while it is not, so that I can get everything that I can out of it for myself and be greedy, and whatever their motives are. Some people, I feel, um, they want more um, to just do for themselves instead of to do for everyone, because they don't quite understand how that's actually doing for them. So when you realize that you are because someone else is, then they start to come on board with the idea and concept that, look, in order for me to get where I want to be in life, I don't want to go there alone. I need somebody else there, because what if I get sick? What if I'm down one day, mentally, emotionally, physically? I need somebody else that's going to be there with me to help me. And then the pandemic occurred, and more people developed that mentality. And now more people are starting to act on that, especially in the business field. I must admit, you guys are awesome. Because of the minds of the people that experience. Well, I appreciate your perspective. I really do. But I promise you, like in person, people are like, you're nuts. You're crazy. Something's wrong with you. Just conform and jump on board, because this is what we're all doing. But the problem with that is companies are all asking for innovative ideas. That means creative thoughts. That means doing things outside of the box. That means these are the rules, but you're working within the rules in order to expand and improve, because you cannot grow and mature being stunted in your expansion, whether it's physical expansion or expanding your wealth, expanding your creative skills and skill sets, and adding to what you currently have. Because I love computers. They're expanding and updating and doing things like every 3 months, but it doesn't come out in 3 months, but it's definitely there within 3 months. And that's why a lot of these episodes I've spoken about various computers and being a hacker and a white hat and a black hat, because that is the most awesome thing ever, in my opinion, when it comes to having freedom to be creative, make mistakes, and learn from those mistakes, and even grow lucratively from those mistakes. You profiting from the mistakes that you make, because yeah, while it may have caused you a lot of money, it's going to make you a lot of money too, because you're going to solve this problem, because you're hurting and because you're determined. And now it's like, man, now I know better. Now if I don't sell the product, I can still sell the concepts. I can still sell the intellectual property, and somebody else can take it from there. So you're not down and out just because you may not be able to physically do, you may not be able to financially do, you may not be able to find um, financial backers, you may not have the social skills. It doesn't matter what your limitations are. Recondition your thinking, because we're making it work now. We're making everything work. It doesn't even matter if you are on a spectrum and you have extremely high needs. None of that matters anymore. Whatever you're dreaming about, whatever it is you want and you working towards, you're going to get there, even if for just a moment, to enjoy it or have your name on it to say, you know what, they did that because I thought of it. I'm 150 years old, so I'm not going to be able to enjoy it for very long because I didn't think I would live to see 150, but that's all right. More people are coming up behind me and enjoying that longer, instead of dying and longing and longing for a long time in their youth. I'm now understanding that we must teach those we can to the last two generations. We assume there be. Yeah, and it's like, schools were developed so that people could learn, but that's not really what that was about. But that's the way we want to believe that was about. And we avoid looking at the real history because it hurts. And instead of us getting past the pain and looking at it anyway, we continue to perpetuate those problems, not even knowing how we're actually contributing to those problems. That's why, in so many ways, I don't like to talk about schools, but that's my greatest passion, because school and church has been my life, all my life. And I don't regret any of it, not a moment. And it's like, these are the two aspects that are bumping heads all the time, especially when it comes to the industrial organization. And in other countries overseas, we can see they have a healthy balance. They're in harmony with their business, school, and faith. Now they not so much in harmony to the point where everybody's on one accord and one faith, but they respect the faith that these people have, that's keeping them motivated and creative and and thriving in a way that can be trusted, to be loyal. It can be trusted to be predicted that, okay, even though I know you're not really happy, I know you're still going to be loyal and committed. And this is why we as Americans, we need to recondition our thinking and look at everything that's going on in the world. And now with computers, we have that opportunity more than ever, because nothing is really refrained from your view. Nothing's being blocked from you. Nothing's being withheld from you. You restrain yourself because you have to recondition your thinking. And that's why I come on and I tell you, look at some studies, see some of these peer reviewed studies. The peer reviewed studies means that it's a collective mind of intellectual people who have come together as one unit to look at what's being studied and what's being said. And they're concluding, yes, this would be a viable way forward. And they're giving birth basically to these ideas and concepts, and it's profitable. And these things that's coming, a lot of people aren't being made aware of it because they refuse to look at these studies. So we need to look at them. We need to think about what's going on. What did Eddie say? Faith, history, science, English language, arts, science, statistics, global studies, etc. are not fully taught to us anymore. Well, it depends on what school you go to, I guess, because some people were learning that. But yeah, I do agree. Public schools and Some traditional or brick and mortar schools do need to get on top of that. I'm persuaded that I must teach my culture to do better. We cannot change everyone, but we can reach. And you know what? That's why teach mastery at level. Yeah, those are good points. That's why it's okay to do these free episodes where everybody can get these basic concepts and jump on board when they see the train finally starting to pick up some speed, pick up momentum. They'll understand. That's a train I want to jump on. Let's get on there. Folks say they are too old to learn. And you know what? That's another thing. Good point, Eddie, because a lot of people do think that they're too old. They're past the prime in order for them to appreciate and enjoy and get the kind of profits and gains from what it is that they're trying or have accomplished. And it's never too late because you don't know. It's something in the pipeline that in the medical pipeline that's helping people live even longer, that's curing ailments beyond what we are currently thinking. For example, everybody was contracting the coronavirus, um, and they had something that helped back then, and then it turned into COVID-19. There's 19 for a reason because it seems to have evolved. And then they say, okay, well, so many people have died from COVID-19. Now they're developing vaccines. And it is written in the Bible that there's going to come a time where people will pray for death and death will flee from them. And then you have to start to think, how can that be? What will make that possible? Maybe somebody's going to come up with so many vaccines that it's going to be hard to die from anything. You're just going to be in pain. You're going to be suffering, and you're probably going to need a whole lot of morphine. But there's going to come a time, and I have studied the Bible to the point where it looks like a roadmap. And it's like, man, these things that the Bible was talking about, these are the things that's going on. So, I could probably look forward to a time that's going to come that is saying that something's going to happen to the point where you're going to pray for death and death will flee from you, meaning you're going to be hit sick or whatever way you're going to be, but you're not going to die. So stop living to die. Let's do that. Folks say they are too old to learn anymore. Oh, wait, we did that one. Let's see what else we have here. Eddie says, teaching is not easy, free, or otherwise. Our ancestors taught. Yes, they did. And from that, that's why I don't put people down who don't have a PhD or who don't have a medical degree or who don't have. Look, I'm learning and I'm growing from everybody, regardless of their whether they have a doctorate or associates or any kind of beyond high school level or even elementary school. Wisdom is it, like the Bible said, it comes out of the mouth of babes. And a lot of times them babies ain't even been here long enough to be able to speak to the point we can understand what they saying. I can't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but it hits home and it resonates and it edifies, it teaches us. This is why we started this network. That's a good point, Eddie. It was needed. There was definitely a need. That would be awful. I know, right? Okay, I've said enough. Yeah, I don't mind. I want people to interact because this is an interactive show. This is not me sitting here running my yap forever, giving you beautiful fish to look at while I talk your ear off. Everybody should participate and feel free that if this is live, go ahead and comment. I will not stand before God and say I didn't do. Yeah, but it's like this. God ain't Chatty Cathy, but He will tell you, and you got to be listening for that shift because it's in the Bible, it's in a lot of books of faith that there's a shift there. And if you don't watch and pay attention, that shift to happen, and you'll be thinking that you standing where you're supposed to be, and you'll look around and you'll find you're not where you're supposed to be because you stop listening. You stop listening. Yeah, I don't know. So we're not gonna click on that. Okay, love you, wife of mine. We put together. And I believe that. I saw something on TBN, and I don't remember the name of it, but there was this couple, and they was having other couples on. And they had CC Winans and her husband. They had uh, Tribbett, Ty Tribbett, and his wife, and they were talking. And the guy in that episode, he said he was talking to CC and her husband, and he said, you know, God is, he felt like somebody, I don't remember how it went, but he felt like when it was said, um, I called you, he, instead of using one finger pointing to the man, he was pointing to him and his wife. I called you to come and do this. So I do believe, I firmly believe in marriage, but I don't believe that anybody should be in a marital situation or a relationship situation where it is hurting you, where it is mentally hurting you, emotionally hurting you to the point where you can't overcome. So while I do firmly believe in marriage, and that there's a call for the pair, a lot of times, still everybody has a season. Okay. So I do firmly believe that, yes, I'm blessed that I have a relationship where it can prosper into things that's benefiting people as a whole. But there's some other people out there who are in marital situations, and they can get together and build even more. So that would, I definitely, well, anyway, the show is almost over. What you mean you'll shut up? You don't have to shut up. Anyway, what'd you say? Uh, Even when you annoy me and I annoy you, that is the humor of God is a relationship. You know what? I love the way in that same episode, Tawana, I don't know her married name. Said respect intended to her husband, who seems to be a really wonderful guy. Um, and much like Eddie and Di, they grew up together. So that's pretty awesome. So it's not unheard of. It's not like, oh, it's so rare. It's not, it's really not. Just people just don't talk about it. They just don't know where it's gonna end up. I ain't the only one. We just don't know where it's gonna end up. It's just in the moment, okay? Do what you do. But yeah, she was saying marriage will do one or two things, and I totally agree with what she said. It's either gonna make you holy or it's gonna make you stray. And what I said long time before I even heard her say that, I said it's either gonna make you loyal or it's gonna drive you to drink. I don't. I'm just saying, because yeah, it may make you do some things you're like, man, in order for me to get through this, whoo, I'm gonna need a drink. I'm gonna need something stronger than this water. I'm gonna need something stronger than them communion and crackers. I need something stronger. And if God gonna touch some water and turn it to wine, He know what I feel and how I feel, and that's how He talking to me right there. He talking to my flesh and feeding my flesh because I need something stronger than what I'm getting right now. So I don't. I think that's why it's written. Do all things decently in order. Because yeah. Relationships. If you've been in one for long enough, and I've been with this guy since I was 15. Yeah, you might need something extra, something powerful, something to help you out just a little bit. And what you say? What you say? You mean Kool-Aid? Yeah, I don't mean Kool-Aid. I don't mean Kool-Aid. Whatever your drink of choice is, I don't think that you'll overindulge in it. And if you do, then find help, seek help. There's other coping mechanisms. But yeah, I need something stronger. And something stronger to me is my hobby. You see my fish, that's something stronger. It's pulling me to do, oh man, I want to do this. Oh man, well, what if I was to modify it this way? It's something stronger than me dwelling on what's going on right now. I need something stronger. And sometimes, yeah, you can, what you say, Pastor? I know, right? All I can do is laugh and say, but God, I promise you, it has been a trying time because some people, they're conditioned that, um, for example, if Eddie says, man, you on my nerve, he said one too many times, I'm be like, look, well, you can go your way, I can go mine. Because in my mind, in my understanding, that's what that means. You mean goodbye. You don't have to tell me but once, baby. Bye. You know what I'm saying? Just like in any other situation. Because I'm not here to cause anybody any harm. I can go somewhere else. I can be somewhere else. So it's like when people are in relationships for a long time, you have a whole lot of those moments where you're like, look, and I love the way Cece Winan and her husband was talking about that because again, that's another couple that was together for forever and they still together. And it's like she doesn't she doesn't hide the fact that yeah, it was a bit of a struggle because people think that when they're in the infancy of their relationship and their marriage, they think that it's all supposed to be rainbows and every time he fart now it's supposed to get some sort of pleasant smell. It didn't smell pleasant when y'all were dating. And, she wasn't passing gas or pooting in front of him. So somehow now that they married, she started doing it. And he think that his stuff stank, but hers ain't supposed to stink. And it's like, now you got to deal with the real and the difficult. And it's like, oh, I think it's supposed to be easy all the time. No, sometimes you might have to sleep with one eye open. I'm just joking. I am just joking. I have known Tina since that was yeah, and that was due to prophetess being in prophetess church and being um sometime we will also go to Pastor Hinton's church, Apostle Hinton. Yeah. And I try. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Certainly. I appreciate it. Uh, but yeah, it has been hard. It has been a personal hell. And I think that that's that part in the Bible where it says long suffering is a part of the fruit of the Spirit. Yeah, that's probably what they mean with that. But a lot of times people want to be in a relationship, but they can't recondition their mind to accept the fact that yes, this is a whole adult that you're dealing with, and that whole adult has ideas and desires and mistakes that they're gonna make that you're gonna have to overlook. And yeah, you have to be overlooked as well because you causing somebody else a personal hell. Yeah, because and the reason why it's like people say, well, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna retire from this career. But when they're going through hell on the job, they're like, forget this, I don't want this. But this is a part of the process. You can't say, well, I'm gonna take only the good and I'm gonna put the bad, and y'all can skip me and don't give me no portion of that. But that's a part of it. And sometimes, a lot of times, especially when you're exercising wisdom, that's the part that's growing you and it's motivating you to go. It's pushing you even sometimes to go and do exactly what you were going to do. That thing that was innate in you, and you were sitting on it, on the idea, not doing it, not having enough faith to do it. It pushed you. It motivated you. It encouraged you. It forced you to go and do what was innate in you in the entire time, and it was your destiny to do. You were called to do it. You were driven to do it. Everything in your life was set up and arranged for you to do this very thing. While you enjoy all these other things, this is what it was all about. And we have to recondition our minds to stop thinking collectively because that's not helping us. We bring our ideas together collectively, but our individual ideas are the missing pieces to the puzzle that we cannot get any other way by conforming in our thoughts, by being conditioned to think as a group and having that group mentality where we're saying, okay, we're all going to do the same thing. We're all going to identify as the same thing. We're all going to have the same mindset and work ethic and career. And we're all going to do. That's not helping. That's actually slowing down the process. Is a compromise. I don't like fish, but I try to support your happy. And I really appreciate the fact that Eddie, I knew already that he didn't like fish, but he bought me my first big fish tank. And today he had to go to the store for me and get some things because, and I know he doesn't like going to the pet store, but he had to go run to the pet store for me because I had to do this show. So, hey sis, how you doing? I understand. I understand. Don't worry, I ain't mad. Catch the replay and enjoy, and definitely come back and comment. But today we talked about reconditioning your mind, reconditioning the mentality that's there so it will grow you, because when you look back over your life and you see what was causing you such mental distress, why was it so dark? It's because you weren't thinking in the way that's really more for you as opposed to the collective. But you can contribute to the collective by being just yourself. You'll be embraced, you'll be loved, and you'll be thanked and appreciated because of who you are, not because of what we want you to be. All right, that's my show for today. Remember, ring the bell so you can see the episodes when I come on, because having these little guys back here come on with me and entertain you while you look at me and I talk crazy, you can look at the fish and they could entertain you. So definitely ring the bell so that we can make sure that everybody's getting everything in and interacting and asking questions. And I loved your question, Pastor Sarton, and I appreciate your question. But yes, it did make me say too much about what's coming up, but that's something to look forward to, because yes, I keep saying there is something that's coming and I want you on board. Yes. Guys. Oh, I keep pointing to the little guys. I think Tim was being funny that day when I said the little guys, I point to them. These are the little guys. Actually, they're females mostly, but some guys, but different genders and different types of fish. They're all, yeah. So anyway, I just say that just, to include them all. But anyway, I appreciate everyone for coming, and I appreciate those who are watching the replay. And remember, mental health is physical wealth. And see you next episode. Yes, catch the episode on Wednesday, and there's a Saturday wrap up. I tried to do the Saturday wrap up. I don't know if the fish like it. We're gonna have to maybe find a different location to film the Saturday wrap up. But as more and more time passes, people are starting to really see that mental health is physical wealth. So stay on board. I keep you abreast and keep you moving forward ahead of what they're doing now. Okay.